you can optimize your marketing a little bit better and you can get more bang for your buck. Hey, I'm Spencer Powell and welcome back to Builder Funnel TV. This is where remodelers and custom builders tune in to grow their businesses. And also, if you're not a member of Remodeler Growth Community, we'll drop a link below, or you can head over to remodelercommunity.com, sign up there, and we'll get you hooked up with some cool bonuses as well. All right, today we're going to talk about marketing budgets and some costs and some frameworks for how to think about this. Connected with a lot of different circles and groups and philosophies on this, and you see people that spend almost 0% of revenue on marketing, and they feel like that's a badge of honor, like all my work comes from referral and word of mouth and that sort of thing. And then you see like maybe towards the replacement contractor side where people are spending 10-12% of revenue on marketing. And so that's a pretty big range. And so what I want to do in this video is break down where I feel like the ranges should be, and then some different ways to think about it. So I'm going to actually give you a few different ranges based on what your goals are. And I think that's where the nuance really helps, because just saying, hey, everyone should spend 5% of revenue on marketing, I don't think that really does it justice, because you have different goals and you might be trying to accomplish different things. So let's dive into some frameworks and really start with a couple of major factors that I think go into this. And the first one is your overall goal in terms of growing revenue. And then the other one is how advanced your marketing is. So if we think about that first one, if you're trying to grow revenue from 2 million to 4 million, that's going to require more aggressive marketing. Whereas if you're trying to go from 2 million to 2.3 million, probably not as much, right? And so that depends, so you can't just tell both of those companies that are starting at 2 million that their marketing budget should be the same. And so I think that's a huge factor. And then the other one is if you've never done marketing and you've done marketing for 10 years and you've tracked it and you've optimized it, over here, if you've never done marketing, you're going to have to spend more and your cost per lead is probably going to be higher because you're still testing things and you're tracking things and you don't know exactly what works for you in your market. Whereas over here, if you've been testing, tracking, measuring for a decade, you can optimize your marketing a little bit better and you can get more bang for your buck. So depending on where you are on that spectrum, that's going to add a variant to what you should spend. So let's look at some examples. The first one is more that like velocity of growth. So if you're trying to grow pretty aggressively, a good range is maybe 5 to 7% of revenue. And so you're going to say maybe you're $1 million and you're trying to grow pretty aggressively. You might look at, $50,000 to $70,000 a year in terms of marketing spend. Whereas maybe you're looking for stability and you're not necessarily looking for aggressive growth. Then I think a good range is like 3 to 5%. So an example of that would be maybe you're at 4 million and you're looking to be right around 4 million, maybe a little bit of growth, some modest growth, but you don't want to go backwards. Then you might be around 160 grand a year in marketing. And then the third kind of stage that you might be in is profit maximizing. And so an example of this might be, hey, you're at 6 million in sales and you're like, I like this revenue range. I'm not trying to grow. I don't want to add a bunch of team members and equipment and new processes. Like I really like this range. I just want to be more profitable. Then you might be in like a 1 to 3% range. And so you might spend 60 to 120 grand a year. So I think about like faster growth, 5 to 7%, stability, 3 to 5%, and then maximizing profit, 1 to 3%. And again, those are ranges because the variant there is also where are you on that scale of just getting going in marketing or super advanced in marketing. And so if you are very, very advanced in your marketing and you've tracked and you know which channels produce projects, then you might be able to spend as a $6 million company, you might be able to spend 70 grand a year and produce 6 million. Whereas you might be $1 million company, you've done no marketing, and you're trying to get up to 2 million, you might have to spend the same amount just to hurdle up to 2 million because you're testing lots of different things. You don't know which channels work, so you're having to try more channels at the same time to see what's working. And so I think this framework really helps as you sit there today and you go, okay, this is where I'm at in terms of revenue, and this is where I'm trying to go. So let me think about that. Am I going to be more on the aggressive side, more in the middle, or more on the low end? And then how advanced is my marketing? Do I know what's working? Do I track everything? And so if you have a good grasp on that, you might be on the lower end of the range, and if you don't, you're going to be at the higher end of the range. And so if you look at those two major factors and what your goals are, you should have a good idea of kind of percentage-wise what you should be spending on marketing. So again, I hope that this just serves as a good framework, because I think there's a lot of people out there that talk about just like putting everyone into a blanket range of 3 to 5%. I've seen that a lot for remodelers or custom builders, but then you'll go to maybe a roundtable group or a Builder 20 club or something like that, and then you'll see the average in that group is 2% or 1.5%, and you're going, well, that's lower than the recommended range. Well, who's recommending it? And so I think you can't just put even just one tight range or one number on it for every single company, because let's face it, you have individual goals, and your factors are going to be different than your peers. So hopefully that gives you a good framework to figure out what your marketing budget should be. And with that, we'll see you next time here on Builder Funnel TV.